This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It's the After Party live on a Travel Tuesday, and my apologies for the extreme tardiness in starting the show. It's all my fault. I will say I blame me. I'm going to hear about it tomorrow, boy. I sometimes, as you may or may not know, on the Mark Thompson Show, after the show, we'll do recorded interviews, and then we have some things to play. Sometimes we'll release those interviews on weekends. Sometimes we'll play them when Mark's not around. Sometimes we'll record them and play them when Mark is around. And we had one such interview scheduled for today, and I didn't send all the things I was supposed to send out and do because I forgot that we had an interview today. So I was scrambling trying to figure that out. Mark texted me, he's like, I have an interview today. And I was like, oh no. So then I had to do that, and that kept you waiting. And then I'm just sorry. I'm sorry for messing up, everybody. What can I say? Let's move on with the show. Hopefully the interview goes well, and you'll enjoy you again, Kim. I know. I'm telling you, Tammy, I don't even, be aware. Oh, Kim Possible did something wrong. Yeah, it happens. I know. Oh, well. Thank you guys for your extreme patience and understanding. Hopefully you had fun talking amongst yourselves. I have some stories for you, my friends, and it is a Travel Tuesday as well. And so we'll take a look at a cool place to go. But first, Kim, not a problem at all. Well, thank you. I don't know if everyone feels the same way. Delette's all good. Oh, she's not. We blame Mark. Yeah, let's blame him on this show. No, it's my fault. I can't blame anyone else. I must accept responsibility. All right. Can we talk about the Arctic? Things are, not so good in the Arctic. We have a melting permafrost. We have glaciers cracking and sliding off. It's rough. The waters are rising. I was just watching a documentary the other day. There's big concern in some areas that some coastal towns, the people are going to have to leave. So this is a serious business. And now we have this story, which the possibility of this is interesting, but I don't know how feasible it is. The story comes out of Sky News, and this is the headline: Mad Science or a Radical Revolution? Could refreezing the Arctic actually work? And I thought immediately, well, how the heck are we going to do that? Come on, refreezing the Arctic. There's this new report that's opening this controversy over so-called geoengineering. There are discussions about a plan to save the ice in the polar regions and repair the damage we've done to our climate using technology. Some folks are saying this is a flawed distraction from the urgent need to reduce greenhouse gases. But this proposal would reflect sunlight or use barriers to keep warm seawater at bay. Some say this is too expensive, it's too hard to scale up, it could actually do more harm than good. Wouldn't that be a nightmare? But it's all about geoengineering. What we know is that the Arctic is warming 3 times faster than the rest of the planet, according to Sky News. The sea levels are on the rise. There is an increase to Europe for extreme weather. And so every effort has been looked at to prevent climate breakdown in the polar regions that are really so fragile. There's a glaciologist at the University of Exeter. His name is Professor Martin Siegert. And he did an assessment of this idea to refreeze the Arctic. And he says using technology to fix this problem is a false promise. That although it's a very appealing proposition, there's just nothing. There's no weight behind this one. He said it's actually pretty dangerous because some people might rely on it. as a way to cure the planet, but it's just not viable. They published a study in the journal Frontiers in Science looking at this proposal to reduce the impact of climate change on polar regions. And here's some of the ideas: spray particles into the upper atmosphere to reflect sunlight, use barriers anchored to the seabed to keep warm water away from floating ice shelves, or add nutrients to polar oceans to encourage the growth of microscopic creatures that suck up carbon from the atmosphere. But all of these things are unproven, and scientists are wondering if there's some type of unpredictable effect that it could have on the atmosphere and on the environment as well. And Professor Siegert is saying, listen, some people are giving disproportionately high amounts of attention to some of these projects. But he says the thing we can do to save our polar regions, the thing we could do to call the planet, is to cut emissions of greenhouse gases to net zero within the next 30 or so years. That will help our polar regions, and that will help the planet. But there are scientists from the UK trying to carry out one of the first trials of geoengineering in the Arctic this winter, because they say no idea could be pulled off the table at this point. So a team from the University of Cambridge is going to use pumps to flood the surface of floating ice with freezing seawater, with the hope that it'll become thicker and more resilient to melting over the summer. They're hoping that it could preserve the reflective white blanket over the Arctic Ocean and then help cool the planet. Some say we really need to test this first, but they're going to move forward with it. So, the trial is being funded by the government's Advanced Research and Intervention Agency, which backs ideas on the very edge of what is possible. They're going to put in 4 pumps over a square kilometer of sea ice, and then they're going to track the impact over several months. The vision is, though, for as many as 1 million pumps covering 10% of Arctic sea ice to reflect enough sunlight to make a difference to climate change. The folks behind this say it's probably within the realm of engineering doability and something that is viable. So scientists, they're not aligned on this instance, on this matter. I have a more wild story. We'll move from the Arctic waters to this guy who is trying to paddle a boat created completely from mushrooms. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Got his little mushroom boat. He went 26 miles in a kayak made of mushrooms. Very interesting. This man's name is Sam Shoemaker, and he put his mushroom boat into the waters off Catalina Island. And his goal was to traverse the open sea to San Pedro, just south of Los Angeles, about 26.4 miles away. This kayak is brownish and yellow and bumpy, and it was made entirely from mushrooms. And if successful, he was going to mark the world's longest open water journey in a kayak built of this material. So here he is paddling. Here's the kayak being made. His giant mushroom kayak. I mean, if you've ever washed mushrooms, you know they float. I guess you could say it's not really out of the realm of a possibility that this could be something that works. I don't know. He took his phone, his GoPro camera, walkie-talkie, had a compass. So he left early in the morning to avoid the worst swells. But 3 hours in and powering through his 9th mile, he started to get really seasick. Then he heard the sound of a large animal below. A fin whale was following him. He said the 50-foot creature followed him for 3 miles. And that's what gave him the strength to finish this voyage. He said it was just like a psychedelic experience. Get it? Because his boat's made of mushrooms. Took him 12 hours, He does make it to shore, stumbles onto shore with the mushroom kayak still intact. He said his family was there, his friends were there. It's an unconventional material to make this boat, and he says he hopes that this trek will bring new attention and curiosity about mushrooms. He is an artist. He calls himself an artist and a mycologist, a mushroom expert. So he did it. His weird little mushroom boat made it more than 26 miles. That's pretty impressive, I think. There is a move to bring back glass bottles. Most of the products that we drink are in plastic bottles. Well, that many people buy at the store would be in plastic bottles. Didn't used to be that way, right? We used to be glass bottles were what everyone used. But there's this beverage company in South America that is bringing back their drink in reusable glass bottles. And the hope is that it could reshape the beverage industry. The beverage maker is called Ambev, and they are now bringing back 1 liter returnable bottles, glass bottles, for their product Guarana Antarctica. This is a drink that was introduced in 1921, and Brazilians have been drinking it ever since. It is currently offered in Portugal, Argentina, Bolivia, and Japan, in addition to Brazil. They say the new glass bottles will be reused 30 times before they go on to be recycled and reformed and reused in other ways. So Ambev is supporting the switch with their infrastructure for returns. They say there's already a rich culture for bottle reuse in Brazil. They have a manufacturing partner, OI Glass, and they say they've already met their electricity emissions goals. And they're making Ambev making a range of commitments, including reducing pollution, enhancing local water availability, and supporting sustainable agriculture. And so the hope is that these large-scale programs to go back to glass, do something other than plastic, will help reduce plastic use, because plastic accumulation in the Pacific Ocean, we know, has created the massive Pacific gyre. What it's doing to our marine ecosystems, not to mention ourselves, is unspeakably awful. They're a hazard to wildlife on land, this plastic. And of course, they shed the particles that end up in our air and our food and our water that have the potential to introduce immune, circulatory, digestive, renal, and reproductive health risks. And that's just what we know so far. So, here we go. Glass bottles. Will they make a comeback? They are in Brazil and other countries. Will we take heed? I certainly hope so. From the serious to the what the hell is happening at our doorbell? There was a problem in Germany and Bavaria. They thought some prankster was ringing doorbells late at night like a late night doorbell ditch. Police in Germany were called to an apartment building because there was a report of someone repeatedly ringing doorbells late at night. The residents of this building in Schwabach, Bavaria, called police when their doorbells were triggered late at night over and over again. They thought it was a bunch of kids, maybe. They didn't know. But they said this was really weird because whoever was ringing the doorbell wasn't triggering the motion sensor cameras outside the door of the apartment building. So police get there and they discover a slug crawling across a panel that was triggering several doorbells in the process. A slug. The slug was sitting right on the nameplate. He said you could even see its slime trail as it crawled across the sensors. Officers picked up the slug, relocated it to a nearby grassy area. They say they released it with a warning. and all was well. Doorbell ditch, slug style. There is this exoplanet called TRAPPIST-1e. It is the fourth planet in the red dwarf star system, TRAPPIST-1, and it orbits firmly within what they say is the star's habitable zone. Here's a rendering of what it looks like. This exoplanet, according to scientists, they've identified a possible atmosphere around it. They call it an Earth-like exoplanet. Researchers from the University of St. Andrews published 2 separate papers on planet TRAPPIST-1e. And what they're saying is that liquid water in the form of a global ocean or icy expanse might actually exist on the surface of this planet. So they published the study in astrophysical journal Letters. They say the James Webb Telescope is a step closer to solving whether or not this planet has an atmosphere. It's located in the constellation Aquarius. It's about 40 light years away from Earth. They say the planet orbits firmly within the star's habitable zone and has a mass comparable to that of Earth. It's the first search for an atmosphere and surface habitability on the planet with the James Webb Telescope. And this planet 1e is of particular interest to researchers because of the presence of liquid water being theoretically viable, but only if the planet has an atmosphere. They say that initial results indicate several potential scenarios, including the possibility of an atmosphere. The researchers say TRAPPIST-1e has long been considered one of the best habitable zone planets to search for an atmosphere. But when the observations were made in 2023, they say they realized the system's red dwarf star was contaminating data in ways that made the search for an atmosphere extremely challenging. Enter the James Webb Telescope. They say the starlight passing through the planet's atmosphere, if there is one, would be partially absorbed, and the corresponding changes in the light spectrum that reach the James Webb Telescope tell astronomers what chemicals are found there. But they'll have to look for star spots, which are spots created by local magnetic fields on the surfaces of stars from this red dwarf star. So they spent over a year collecting data for the star's contamination before they could actually try to zero in on whether or not there's an atmosphere. And they still don't know. They say there's 2 possible explanations, and the most exciting of them is that TRAPPIST-1e could have a so-called secondary atmosphere containing heavy gases like nitrogen. But the initial observations can't yet rule out just a bare old rock with no atmosphere at all. With each additional transit of the James Webb Telescope, they say the atmospheric contents become more clear. So in the coming years, they'll go from 4 James Webb Telescope observations of this exoplanet to about 20. And they say they finally have the tools and the telescope needed to search for habitable conditions in other star systems. And that's what makes their research so exciting. So we could all be moving to TRAPPIST-1e after we wreck our own planet. Look at that. I hate to put this picture up because, oogie, mosquitoes on me. I just want to smack that thing. I know it's not very zen of me, but they bite me and it's horrible. And there's a study that was done that I find amusing. It's called the Mosquito Magnet Trial. The study is still in review, hasn't been published yet, but I find it amusing enough to tell you about. Biologists did some research investigating what biological and sensory contributors may have the most sway over a mosquito's dining habits. So they went to an outdoor music festival For 3 days in 2023, they put up a pop up lab at Lowlands. It's a music festival that takes place every year about 42 miles east of Amsterdam. They asked the concert goers to fill out questionnaires about some of their most recent and personal hygiene, diet, and lifestyle decisions. And about 500 music fans volunteered to answer the survey and then stick their arm into a custom designed cage buzzing with famished mosquitoes. That would have been a hard pass for me because I know I'm getting bitten. But they did. They took the time to fill out the form and stick their arm into a cage full of mosquitoes. They say none of the participants were in any danger of covering their arms in itchy welts. I don't know how that worked out. The researchers built the apparatus to feature holes that were tiny enough for the insects to smell a person, but not pierce their skin. The team recorded videos of the mosquito responses compared to the responses to a sugar feeder based on the other side of the cage. And then they analyzed all the accumulated data. And what they noticed is that mosquitoes had a clear preference. They said the mosquitoes enjoyed the people who enjoyed themselves. So the people that drank beer and had sex the night before the experiment were about 1.35 times more attractive to mosquitoes than people that were sober and abstinent. So they liked the drunk, horny people. I will always get bitten by mosquitoes, and I don't know if I'm either of those things. So that's kind of embarrassing, but that's what they say. The people who were drunk and horny or had recently done the deed, those were the people that mosquitoes were most attracted to. They said it was a very clear preference. The pests were less likely to try snacking on someone's arm if they'd been recently washed or if they had sunscreen applied. They call it the mosquito magnet trial, and it's the largest study of its kind to date in their knowledge. And they did say it was a very loosely controlled setting. There was a selection bias towards science-loving festival goers, and that more investigation is needed before drawing any concrete conclusions. If they felt confident in asserting mosquitoes are drawn to those who avoid sunscreen, drink beer, and share their bed. But they did say it appears mosquitoes have a taste for the hedonists among us. They say it's also never a bad idea to limit your alcohol intake while applying sunscreen daily. And as for getting it on, they say consensual fun is scientifically certified for your health. So there you go. Who knew? That's why mosquitoes are biting us. There is a contest underway in Canada. Look at this beautiful picture of the Canadian wilderness. It's a $1 million treasure hunt underway in the Canadian wilderness. It's called the Great Canadian Treasure Hunt. There is a chest, an actual treasure chest, filled with about $1 million worth of gold coins, and it is hidden somewhere in Canada. The riches were hidden by a mining consortium to celebrate the rich mining heritage and the spirit of adventure in Canada. The tagline that they have reads like the prospectors before you. You're chasing discovery driven by grit, curiosity, and the pursuit of exploration. That's on the Great Canadian Treasure Hunt's official website. The 217 1-ounce coins in the chest will probably take some time before they're claimed. The grand prize said to be tucked away somewhere on publicly accessible land in a country that encompasses about 3.5 million square miles. The first clue is a 13 stanza poem. The folks running the show will say they'll put a series of monthly hints that'll be released over the next year to help people that are playing chart their course. The master clue consists of a 13 stanza poem referencing a phoenix, zinc-toned waters, and sunken whispers, among many other pointers. An additional clue released September 3rd. It reads, "Though crystal clear and calm it seems, this mirror hides more than it gleams. A single step may seal your fate. Best not to disturb the water's state." I'm never finding that. I don't know about you, but I just don't know enough about Canada and its geography to figure it all out. They say that the prize will not remain missing until someone finds it. The reward will be forfeited if it is not located by December 31st of 2026. So, $1 million up for grabs. Somebody should go get it. I know we're getting a little late because we started late, but I do want to do this story before I jump into our travel date together. And it is a story about, I love this picture so much, I don't want to take it away. It is a story about a new car. Hyundai, all the stuff has been going on with Hyundai. They're rethinking their compact EV from the ground up with this concept car that they're calling 3. Here's a better picture of it. You can see across the front, it says 3. This is so interesting. South Korean car maker Hyundai unveiling this compact electric vehicle designed specifically for driving in European cities. They say the form was determined by the properties of steel. It's released under their sub-brand Ionic. The Concept 3 making its global debut at the IAA Mobility 2025 Motor Show in Munich. We saw a couple cars yesterday that were there as well. This is a shorty, just under 4.3 meters long. This is the first compact electric vehicle in the Ioniq family, which includes the mid-sized Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6 Saloon, and the recently launched Ioniq 9, which is a larger SUV. But they say the concept of this car will set the tone for the next chapter of design innovations. It signals the future expansion into a new vehicle category. I have so many pictures of this weird car to show you. First of all, the colors are strange. It's very kind of glow in the dark. Look at the windows. They're kind of the color of a highlighter, right? So is the spoiler on the back, and you can see the highlighter yellow in the wheel well as well. And look inside. Oh, that's yellow. That's really yellow with a purple afterglow. So interesting to look at, I think. They say with Europe experiencing a surging demand for compact EVs driven by urbanization, sustainability regulations, and the growing need for space-efficient solutions, the Concept 3 demonstrates Hyundai Motors' vision for meeting this demand by drawing on its advanced electrification capabilities. This vehicle is a new direction for EV design. It has become heavily centered around larger cars because of profit margins, but Hyundai says the Concept 3 is 80% of the way to being production ready. They say the car owes its shape to what they call the art of steel, a design technique that seeks to work with the inherent bending tendencies of steel, first exhibited in the Initium concept unveiled in late 2024. They say to emphasize the effect, sheets are fitted together cleanly and finished with an anodized effect in tungsten gray. And then contrasting with the gray, the lemon yellow wheel hubs and the glazing used for a ducktail spoiler as well as the windows. You can see it on the spoiler. You can see it on the windows. Yeah, it's very yellow. Combined with a dynamic roofline and a vertical tailgate, the spoiler contributes to the sporty hatchback configuration. It's called an aero hatch, intended to balance an aerodynamic profile with generous interior space. They say the car's basic shape was first developed in the form of paper sculptures. That designing the Concept 3 was an opportunity to rethink the compact EV from the ground up. So interesting. One of the things they've done is they have these pixelated lights, but they say they're pushing the idea further with pixelated light displays on the front grille. And you can kind of see here how it says 3, right? You can see it better here. How it says 3 on the front of the car. I guess you can change it to whatever you would want it to say because of their pixelated light display there on the front of the vehicle. It's really a fascinating idea. They say that 2 miniature pixelated screens feature the side view cameras facing out through the door windows. Inside the car, the gray and yellow color scheme continues with gray vegetable tanned leather and ocean waste textiles juxtaposed with a recycled aluminum powder paint in the shade Hyundai says is inspired by buttery moonbeam coreopsis flowers. Here we go. This is the inside. Yeah. It's a little sign on the seat that says crafted with love. Isn't that nice? There's the steering wheel. It's a very interesting looking car. I'm not going to lie. And this little cartoon creature, it keeps popping up over and over again all over the place. The doors and dash are filled with lightweight aluminum foam left visible at the end. And there's a soft lilac colored lighting in the doors. To keep the driver's eyes on the road as much as possible, the Concept 3, they say, ditches the touchscreen dash in favor of a series of widgets arranged around the steering wheel, which would be modular and customizable. And then dotted around the car is Mr. Pix. You can see there, that's the cartoon, Mr. Pix, P-I-X. A cartoonish character conceived by the Hyundai designers in an attempt to inject a sense of playfulness and personality. Messaging around the car includes the words troublemaker and thrill seeker on the driver and the front passenger seats. It's interesting. This vehicle is one of more than 500,000 visitors are expected to attend the show in Munich this week and see it. So we'll see what people say. They say they plan to release 21 electric vehicle models by 2030, Hyundai does, including electrified versions of all of its cars in Europe by 2027. So, fascinating to look at this car. Do you want to be encased in all that yellow? Looking through a yellow windshield? That's an awful lot of yellow. I don't know. All right, it is time for Travel Tuesday, and off we go. We are going to Zanzibar. Have you been? We have some fun things to do in Zanzibar, including going to Stonestown. And no, I don't mean the wall in San Francisco. But first, a little about Zanzibar. This offers a little bit of everything for the wandering soul. Beaches, postcard-worthy picture, pure white sand, turquoise waters, snorkeling with colorful fish, a traditional dough boat ride, D-H-O-W, a dough boat, Slicing of local culture. There's the Jozani Forest. You can see the red monkeys there. There are remote islands and iconic coastlines. They say the beaches each bring something special to the table, whether it's scuba diving or just laying on the sand. So let's go to Zanzibar. The first thing I want to show you again is called Stone Town. It sure is beautiful. I have a picture of this for you. I prefer to do it this way than to share my screen, but here's the picture of Stone Town. Look at this old, beautiful streets. It is the oldest part of Zanzibar City. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's best known, Stone Town, for its blend of European, African, Arabic, and Asian architecture, a very lively food scene, and coastal cool. The stone houses, the cobbled markets on every turn, beautiful. They say it's a must-see, Stone Town, and it's listed as the top attraction in Zanzibar City. Now we're going to the beach. Now, here we go. The first beach to show you is called Nungwi. Boy, is this picture perfect. Wow. Let's show you Nungwi Beach, which is nice after we've spent a day touring Stone Town. We might just want to take a little rest on the sand. And that is the perfect place to do it. Nungwi Minari Aquarium and Marine Turtle Conservation Lagoon is beautiful. This is on Zanzibar's northernmost beach, Nungwi Minari, the aquarium home to the Marine Turtle Conservation Lagoon. That is a community-led project aimed at safeguarding sea turtles. You can see hawksbill and green turtles in a tidal pool and learn more about marine life in the Indian Ocean. You can take part in their ongoing release programs. You can help release the little turtles. So fun. And that picture is just amazing. So beautiful. Then, how about we go to Old Fort Ngom Conwy. This is kind of back in Stonestown, so we really should have hit that when we were there. But, you know, we wanted to go to the beach, so it's okay. But the third best excursion in Zanzibar is going to this old fort in Stone Town. And here's what it looks like. I have a picture for you. Although I don't really want to leave the beach, but here we go. Very cool. This is the oldest building in Stone Town. It's also called, in addition to the Old Fort, some call it the Arab Fort. It is one of the city's top attractions, originally served to protect Stone Town from attack, and it was later converted into a prison, but now it's a popular tourist attraction and an event space, so you've got to go check it out, the Old Fort. And now we have to go to the market, because in Zanzibar, this is something not to be missed. The colorful foods and tapestries and things to buy. It's just, you know, it's kind of a feast for your eyes. This is one of the biggest markets to go visit. It is called the Darajani Market. It is in Stone Town's primary market bazaar, and it is, they say, a one-stop shopping experience for anyone looking to pick up fresh seafood, vegetables, maybe you're looking for spices, and that a stroll through this market will give you an excellent introduction into the ingredients used in Zanzibari cooking, and also a really good spot to pick up some souvenir spices. You want to bring home some Zanzibar spices. So that's pretty cool. The next thing we'll take a look at is called the House of Wonders. So mysterious. The House of Wonders is home to the Museum of History and Culture. It is the tallest building in Stone Town. I have a picture of this for you too. So much to see at the amazing House of Wonders. And there's a photo of that. This is a building that used to be a palace. It was built in 1883. It was the very first building on the island to have electricity, and it was the very first in the region to have a working elevator. But since the early 2000s, the House of Wonders has been showcasing a collection of artifacts related to Swahili and Zanzibari culture. You can explore the grounds, where you'll see a traditional Swahili boat, old world fishing tools, and famous ships. Inside, in the hallways, you get a close-up look at traditional garments, historical portraits of royalty, and ancient furniture taken from former sultans' homes. A visit, they say, to the House of Wonders gives the guest a window into the local culture and the rich history of this island. And the last place we'll go, and this is purely for relaxation. I don't think that we're going to be releasing turtles or anything else. We're just going to grab a drink from the cooler that we're bringing, and we're going to relax on this gorgeous sand of Nakupenda Beach. It is surrounded on all sides by turquoise water. And I mean, wow. Wow. This is relaxing. Look at that. Just a little bit. Everyone take a seat on that white sandbar. How beautiful. Nakupenda Beach is what it is called, surrounded on all sides by turquoise water. It's a sandbank off the coast of Zanzibar and a beautiful place to visit if you'd like to spend any time swimming or snorkeling or enjoying the warmth of the tropical air and the sea. You can take beach tours if you want. You just go hang out. You picture yourself right there for a minute. If that's not a pressure releaser, I don't know what is. So we visited Zanzibar, and that is Travel Tuesday. I hope you had a nice, relaxing virtual trip, because I know I did. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Looks like another planet. Yeah, it does. Paradise. So beautiful. Nolaphidian wants us to know the island is actually called Ungunja. Cool. Nice. Gorgeous. Yeah, pull up some sandbar is about right. That is exactly right. Heaven. Phineas is going. I'm going. Yeah. Gorgeous. Zero Sum says, I'll eat all the food and I will wear all the clothes. All of it. Beautiful. That is, again, Travel Tuesday. Thank you guys for coming with me. I appreciate it. And thank you for being here for the After Party Live. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, we'll have John Rothman on the show. I believe Belinda Weymouth will swing by as well. And then here on the After Party Live, we'll take a look at some waterfalls for Waterfall Wednesday and get a little deeper into our relaxation at the end of the show. Thank you again for your patience in waiting for the show to start, and for all the comments and the ways you interact and make this just the best place to be. I will see you tomorrow back here on the YouTube. Until then, make it a great day. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Are you saying we should go to Cambodia tomorrow? Maybe we will.